Hey, young naturalists. I'm Patti Smith from Bonnievale Environmental Education Center, and I'm here today with my friend Persephone the Possum. And we are going out to find out what our wild neighbors have been up to in the woods around this house. We've had snow for 24 hours. That's given all kinds of critters a chance to leave tracks for us to follow. So let's go. We're heading out into hundreds of acres of wild forest, and I'm hoping that we might find the tracks of 3 moose that a neighbor spotted several days ago. Here we have a set of tracks running along this log. There are 2 questions we always ask when we see tracks. Who made them and what were they doing? Very often answering that second question will answer the first. For example, who is likely to be running along the top of a log? And if you look here, you'll see that this creature ran from one end of the log to the other end of the log, and then the tracks disappear. So these tracks were made by a red squirrel. They just go from tree to tree. You're never going to be following a red squirrel very far. Nice to see them out and about. There's only one animal in these woods with a footprint like this. We have found our moose. So let's see where it's going to go. One of the things you learn very quickly when following moose tracks is that these animals are built on stilts. They don't care how brushy it is, how deep the snow is, they're just going to go straight through stuff like this. Just a little farther along the ridge here, and now we can see these places where the snow has been melted. The snow has been melted by the very warm bodies of not just one moose, but 2, 3 different moose beds here. Moose sleep quite a lot during the day and during the night. And in this moose bed over here, you can see the impression made by its front leg as it folded up its legs and just slept here. Here we can see where the moose got up and started moving. Oh, what does it do when it first gets up? More evidence of moose activity, some moose scat. Here is a very fresh moose bed. And look at that, fresh tracks trotting away. I'm afraid we may have startled this poor moose. Well, since we know that the moose are in the area, and I really don't want to make them nervous, let's go see if we can find an old friend of mine. Beatrice the porcupine used to have a den around here. Well, I don't see any tracks here, so no one's been here in the last 24 hours. This is a little den underneath a tipped-over tree. Let's see, if we look in the back here, yep, sure enough, there is some porcupine scat. Looks pretty fresh, but not within the last 24 hours. Still, someone's been here recently. Here we have another small mammal out and about. Also hopping along a log. Here are the tracks of a little deer mouse or white-footed mouse. You can see a little bit of tail drag there in that fluffy snow. There's one more porcupine den I'd like to explore before we head back. And yes, sure enough, here we can see some fresh tracks and some porcupine scat. I think there is somebody underneath this shed. Mo is a little porcupine who I raised last summer. He was an orphan when his mother was hit by a car. And he was always a very independent little porcupine. He's now made it through this is the start of his 2nd winter, actually. Good job, Mo. Good job. Brought Mo a few of these acorns, and you can see what a good job porcupines do holding on to those with their little palm teeth to crack those shells. Don't porcupines make everything sound delicious? That's nice to see Mo here doing so well. See you later, Mo. Well, that was cute. Mo started following us and decided against it. Now he's hurrying back to his little shed. Bye, Mo. Some very fresh tracks. Uh-huh. Hi, Persephone. What do you think, Persephone? You like snow? You like snow? I hope all of you have opportunities to get out to your study sites after a snow and see who's been moving around and what they've been up to. Before you do that, you might think about just which animals you might be likely to find there. If you're in town, yep, you might very well find tracks of an opossum. Probably not a moose. If you're up in the mountains like me, you're not going to see these little possum tracks unless it happens to be Persephone. Well, I hope you have a great time and happy trails.